In this video, I will show you how to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. We're going to talk about how you can do it, who should do it, who cannot do it, and I'm going to give you a specific game plan to help you accomplish that goal. The game plan is going to be a little different than what you think. Building muscle and burning fat simultaneously is possible, but it's not optimal. You can do it, but that doesn't mean you should do it for a few reasons. For one, let's look at pro bodybuilders. These guys are on all types of gear and PDs. They have the best coaches for their training. They have the best coaches for their diet. These motherfuckers will weigh the sauce that they put on their food, right? They're meticulous about every macro. They're doing everything to the highest possibility. They're exhausting all resources, and they have elite genetics. To be a pro bodybuilder, you got to have elite genetics as well as gear, right? Because gear ain't magic. I know people on gear who do like trash. You got to work super hard. Not only hard, you got to work smart. Those people still don't try to build muscle and burn fat simultaneously. It's possible, but it's not optimal unless you fall into a few distinct categories. The people who can build muscle and burn fat simultaneously, people who just started working out. If this is your first year working out, you can for sure burn fat and build muscle simultaneously because you're so new to the stimulus of resistance training that your body's going to react. It's going to be in shock. So your very first year training, it's relatively easy to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. I've been a personal trainer for over 25 years. While most of you guys were shitting on yourself, jerking off the Teletubbies, I was training 10 people a day on the gym floor. Not just online training, I mean in person, before online training was a thing. Before online was a thing. Motherfuckers had dial-up internet. I was training 10 people a day. I'm a lot older than I look. I know I look better than you. I'm probably twice your age. Yeah, I just turned 42 recently. The second class of people who can burn fat and build muscle simultaneously are people who just started steroids. When you first get into the roids, you can definitely build muscle and burn fat at the same time because, again, it's a shock. It's a new stimulus and your body's going to react to that. But even that will go away. This is why the pro bodybuilders do not try to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. They do big bulks and cuts because it works significantly better. I want you to think about it. To burn fat, you have to be in what's called a caloric deficit, meaning you are burning more calories than you consume. A caloric deficit is intrinsically catabolic, meaning it's counterproductive to building muscle. In fact, it has a negative impact, not only the gain of muscle, but the retention of muscle. So you're more likely to lose some muscle when you're cut. Now, there's things you can do to mitigate that, and we'll talk about that later in the video. To burn fat, you have to be in a caloric deficit, which is intrinsically catabolic. To build muscle, of course, you gotta give the muscle stimulus from resistance training, progressive overload. You have to make sure you're getting an adequate amount of protein. But one of the best things you can do to build muscle is be in a caloric surplus, meaning you are consuming more calories than you burn. A caloric surplus is intrinsically anabolic. It's very productive to muscle growth, right? The problem is it's anabolic for your fat cells as well. However, it's one of the best things you can do if you want to build as much muscle as possible. You would need to be in a caloric surplus. And the only thing that works for fat loss is to be in a caloric deficit. This is why pro bodybuilders will do something like this. Is where you look ripped, looking good. Here is where you are fat and gross. Those words are synonyms. All right, so a pro bodybuilder will bulk. They're trying to build as much muscle as possible, so they'll bulk and they'll get to the fucking gross. They'll probably go past gross. You ever see these pro bodybuilders in the off season? They look fucking crazy, and they stay here for like six months maybe, right? Then they start to cut, boom, and they peak for a show, then they do this charade over and over again, right? They'll do this for like 6 months, which means they look like fucking shit for a good half of the year just to peak for a short period of time. This is where they look good. And then, you know, for some part of this state, they don't look good, but it's fine, right? It's easier for a pro bodybuilder because remember, they're on all types of PEDs and they have elite genetics. Therefore, they'll put on more muscle during this phase than you and I will, and less fat than you and I will because they're on the PEDs. Full disclosure, I am on testosterone replacement therapy right now. You know, I'm 42. I won't look as shitty as you. I'll put on less fat in a bulk. I'll retain more muscle in a cut. I'm assuming you're natural watching this, but it's still not the same as a pro bodybuilder because they're taking way more testosterone than I am. My testosterone levels are still actually in the normal range where they're taking it way past the normal range. And when they go on the cut, they will retain more muscle than you and I will. Like even me on TRT because, you know, it's a low dose of testosterone, right? Now, there's a problem with this strategy, especially for naturals. When you're doing a traditional bulk and cut, you look like shit half the year or longer. So fuck that. When you do this, you're going to put on a lot of fat with a traditional bulk. You're going to put on a lot of fat. And the problem with putting on a lot of fat is the way fat cells work is, let's say this is a fat cell. What happens is, as you start getting fat, the fat cells gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what does it do? What do fat cells do? They multiply. Problem with your fat cell splitting is once you create new fat cells, the fat cells don't go away, even when you lose fat. So you'll always have more fat cells and it'll be easier for you to get fat after that. A lot of people find that difficult to believe when I say it, and that's because they're not as well researched as me. It's not your fault. You're not stupid. You're just ignorant. You don't know. I'm gonna fix that right now. Here's the article. Your fat cells can never disappear, making future weight gain more likely. Right, and they go into great detail about it. You might be thinking, yo, Big Brandon Carter, that's not a fucking study. Or they reference studies in this, right? Let me pull up the study. So here's the study where they went into the dynamics of fat cell turnover in humans. You can go read this shit on your own, nerd, right? Or you could just trust me. I'm an expert. Here's another study. This one, it focused on teens, but it went into more detail. The number of fat cells you have as a teen linger for a lifetime. That's because fat cells are growing. But let's go back here. If you are overweight and you lose weight, you still have the capacity to store lipids because you still have the same number of fat cells, right? So when your fat cells multiply and you grow more, because that's what cells do, right? Cells multiply. It'll be easier for you to gain fat in the future, right? This is why it is so hard to keep weight off. That being said, because we know fat cells never go away unless you get liposuction. You suck the fat out of your body, you're gonna have the same number of fat cells. Here's what I do instead, right? This is what I've been doing for decades, and this is what I have my clients do. It's a way where you can burn fat and build muscle, not simultaneously over this, let's say this is a year period where we talk about the pro bodybuilders because they're peaking for like their show. Over this same period, you can build muscle and burn fat while not looking like shit half the year. I learned this from somebody who I used to look up to a lot when I was 16. There was this guy named Bill Phillips. He founded a supplement company called EAS. He later sold it to Abbott Laboratories for $100 million. And he had a magazine called Muscle Media. And in this magazine, he broke down a process that's similar to what I'm going to say you. I've modified it a little bit, but he called it anabolic burst cycling, where Bill Phillips said, bulk for 2 weeks, then cut for 2 weeks, and just go back and forth doing that indefinitely. That's fine. I think I found a better way over years of trial and error. We'll do the same graph. We're going to do it my way. Here is the fat and gross line. Here is the ripped line. So what you do is, I call this micro cutting and bulking. Very first thing you need to do is get as lean as you want to be. So go on a cut. Whatever, we're going to start with a cut. I'm assuming you fat and gross. That's why you want to burn fat and build muscle at the same time, or you skinny fat. First, we're going to get ripped, right? Get as lean as you need to be. I don't care how long it takes. If you are fat, we need to cut. And there's a few reasons why I believe you should start with a cut. It's way easier to lose fat than it is to build muscle on a biological level. Fat cells only have to shrink, and they can shrink rapidly. I once helped a guy lose 75 pounds in 70 days. Right, we had a YouTube video about it. He was obviously obese, right? You can actually lose fat fast. Can you build muscle fast? Well, building muscle is a way harder process on a biological level, right? You have to have enough stimulus for the muscle to actually break down and tear the muscle fibers, and then they have to grow back stronger. The muscle cells have to multiply, expand, and split. It takes significantly longer. So one of the reasons we want to cut first is because you can immediately get a reward. You can get a quick win by cutting as much as possible. The second reason why you should cut first, you will immediately just look better. Let's say you bulked first, but you already kind of fat. If you are already kind of fat and you put on 5 pounds of muscle, it won't be as impressive as if you are lean and you put on 5 pounds of muscle. In fact, When I go on a cut all the time, people are saying, yo, did you get bigger? You look like you got bigger. No, it's just you can see the proportions better, right? My waist is smaller, so it makes my shoulders look bigger, right? You can see the cuts in my arms better, right? Even though I've lost weight, I'm more defined. The muscle insertions are more visible. So it gives the illusion you're looking bigger. It's kind of like some of the women I've trained. First thing they want to get a bigger butt. And I'm like, bitch, you fat. So we put them on a cut, their waist gets smaller, and now they got more of an hourglass shape. It looks like that ass is fatter, but it's really just the proportions. Now she look more like an hourglass. She look like a Coke bottle instead of a 2-liter. It'll have the same effect to you. Your waist will be smaller, which will make your shoulders look broader, and you'll have the muscle insertions. You just look way better, and you'll look more muscular. Then when you go on a bulk and you put on some muscle, it's gonna look more impressive. The next reason why you should cut first, when you do go on a bulk, the fat cells won't multiply. Red is gonna be the cut. Then you're gonna go on a bulk, all right? And you're gonna bulk until kind of don't see your abs as well. They're less defined. We're not gonna go to the gross level. We're gonna go to we can't see our abs as well. Then what are we gonna do? We're gonna go straight into a cut again. Boom, right? And then we keep repeating that. Then you cut until you're as ripped as you want to be. Then you bulk until my abs are starting to not be as visible. That's for most of you. You can use your abs as like the canary in the coal mine. Right? No, you're about to get fat when your abs are less defined. Me, I use my face. When I start getting fat, my face gets fat first. I start looking like an emoji or a minion while you can still see my abs. And I cut until my face looks like Skeletor. And then I stay here, right? And then you just keep doing this over and over again. And within the same amount of time, you're in surplus, then you're in a deficit. You're in a surplus, then you're in a deficit, then you're surplus, then you're in a deficit. And the beauty of this is you never get fat and gross. Instead of the bodybuilder only looking good for half the year, if that, you are looking good year round. This is one of the reasons why people thought that I was on steroids before I even went on TRT. They thought I was on PDs, and I wasn't. They was like, man, you can't stay ripped year round, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I do it like this. And so yeah, I do stay ripped year round. I look good year round because I never allow myself to get fat. Another reason why is I only took fucking pictures and videos of myself when I'm in these areas, right? This is when I do all the videos and pictures and post them. Like, I don't know why motherfuckers would take videos and pictures of themselves here. Fuck that. I just fucking bulk and made my content when I look the best, and I posted that year round. I think this is a better strategy because you never look like shit, and it gives the impression that you're building muscle and burning fat at the same time. You're not doing it simultaneously, but if we space this out, let's say a year, right? This is fat loss. This is muscle gain. When you do the mini bulks and cuts over this amount of time, by the end of the year, you should have burned fat and built muscle. Well, really, you did most of your burning fat initially. You got as lean as you wanted to get. Boom. But then you never let your shit get out of hand. So in the fat loss, you always stayed in a range with the fat loss. You never got past a certain threshold of fatness, but you kept gaining muscle throughout the whole time. I think you should go on an aggressive cut initially, get as lean as you want to be, and then just bulk and cut indefinitely. And I've been doing this indefinitely. Like I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Like I never went on a fucking 6-month bulk. Never got fat bulk. Fuck that shit. Get as lean as you want to get, and then micro cuts and bulks. How long should these micro cuts and bulks be? As long as it takes you to get as lean as possible, that's how long your cut is. The first one is going to be the longest. And then how long should a bulk be? As long as you can do it without getting fat. Here's what the cut looks like. The micro cut, I'm going to give you a prescription. And again, these are aggressive. You're going to take your body weight in pounds times 10. That equals how many calories you're going to get. You got to track your calories for this to work. That's how many calories you're going to get. So if you weigh 200 pounds of fat, 2,000 calories. You might be thinking that's too little. Shut the fuck up. I fucking hate you. How many people you train? More than me? You got to be talking in the thousands. You fucking bitch. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to turn up on you like that. Hey, let's keep it copacetic. Body weight in pounds times 10. That's aggressive. That's aggressive. All right. Unless you're super fat. Now, if you're obese, then you want to take it down a little bit, even more than that. But this should work for most people. If you're super fat, you shouldn't even been watching this video. You just need to go on a cut, fat boy. Knock it off. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I know some of you guys are going to say, I watched the YouTube video that said you only need 0.7. Just shut the fuck up. You don't know more than me. There are studies that say you only need 0.7 or 0.8, but you got to remember that these studies were done in perfect conditions, right? They knew exactly how much these people were eating. They were done in laboratories, teams of nerds. It's correct. We don't live under those perfect conditions. The FDA allows food labels to be off by 20% in any direction, right? So if you get something that says, hey man, this is fucking 10 grams of protein, because the FDA allows it to be off by 20%, that means it could be 8, it could be 12. You don't know. This protein will help mitigate muscle loss. Therefore, we want to overshoot this. I'd rather have too much protein than not enough. We want to overshoot it to make up for the 20% that the FDA allows food labels to be off. Does that make sense? So we're gonna do 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Unless, of course, you are super fat. You are a big whale motherfucker, right? Oh, I guess I need 400 grams of protein. No, this video is not for you. You need to watch a different video. This is for motherfuckers who ain't so goddamn fat that I gotta change the rules for them. Cut until you are as ripped as you wanna be. So that's the micro cut, micro bulk. And depending on how fat you are and how diligent you are when you're tracking, it can take longer, right? This could be 2 weeks for some of y'all. This can be fucking 2 months for some of y'all. First one at least, right? It depends. The micro bulk, you're gonna take your body weight in pounds times 20. And that's how many calories. Again, that's aggressive too. Same, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. For the same reasons I said before, you will bulk until your abs start to smooth out. Don't wait till you don't have abs, right? Soon as it's getting out of hand, oh, time to go on the cut. There's a reason for this, right? Because almost everybody has a 6-pack. You have abdominal muscles, they exist. You just got too much fat on them. So once you get lean enough, you'll see them. Oh, that's almost everyone. Even if you're like a skinny fucking kid, you know, you'll see something. And also, men have more fat cells in our stomach. We carry more fat cells in our stomach than women on average. And women carry more fat cells in their thighs, that ass, and them titties. So for men, right, the abs is the canary in the coal mine. Because we have more fat cells there, it's a good judge of when things are getting out of hand. They're going to be the last ones to come in, and they're going to be the first thing to go away. And then you just do this indefinitely. Now there's something special that happens too. There's another reason why this works well. Anybody who's done a bodybuilding competition or had to cut for an event, we all notice that you seem to gain weight faster after it. There's an anabolic response that happens when you go straight from a deficit to a bulk. Your body it's almost like it sucks up the nutrients, right? You are way more insulin sensitive, which means your body can utilize nutrients more effectively. Once you get lean and you've been on the cut, you're way more insulin sensitive. When you're fat, insulin sensitivity goes down, meaning your body does not utilize nutrients as effectively, which is why motherfuckers get fat. There's something about this, man. When you come off a cut, you can bulk more effectively. I know a lot of people like to do reverse dieting and all this stuff. There's nothing bad about that, right? But I ain't never did that shit. I just fucking bulk and cut. I'm never doing maintenance. I'm never maintaining. I'm always bulking or cutting 100% of the time. And the beauty of this is you'll probably be bulking and cutting for the same amount of time as the guys who do those big bulking cuts. It's just spaced out and you never get fat, right? They're just shorter ones. And you can do this indefinitely. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for over 20 years in a row. Give it a shot, try it. I promise you, you'll thank me later, right? Even though you're not building muscle and burning fat simultaneously, over the course of a year, it will be as if you did burn fat and build muscle. Not only has this worked for me, but it's worked for tons of people I've trained. I also train trainers, right? If you are trying to learn how to grow your online fitness business, I have a free ebook called The 10 Commandments of Online Training. It'll show you exactly how to do it, how to build your online fitness business, even if you don't have a big following, even if you're not certified, even if you don't have a lot of experience. It's free. The link is in the description. I've helped over 15,000 people grow successful online fitness businesses, and this ebook will help you do the same. Click the link in the description.